Hey guys, so I'm here today to talk about something that I feel personally is really important, and I feel like sometimes it can be extremely difficult. um, but it's something that I want to talk about and kind of share my thoughts on. So I'm back today with another card from the Less Anxiety Affirmation deck. And I felt like this was the card that went the best with what I want to talk about today. So the card says, "Things don't always go as planned, they go as they are meant to go. I can't control everything, and I wouldn't want to." So basically what I want to talk about is our need and desire to change things from how they are into being what we want them to be. So for example, having a situation go a certain way, or it's going one way, but you wish it would just go another way, because if it went that other way, it would better you more than the way that it's going now. And we tend to put a lot of our thoughts and energy into that, when a lot of the times it is not in our control anyway. We can't really do anything about it. Some situations we can make changes and change the outcome and things like that, but then other situations are out of our control. We don't get to choose how they play out, and then we tend to sit with those thoughts and let those thoughts kind of take over our minds, make us feel, upset, depressed, and yeah, it's not good. And what sparked me wanting to make this video today is I was just sitting by myself and finding myself in that type of situation where something is going a certain way, and I just wished and thought, why can't it go this way? This way it would be so much better for me. And then I found that I was getting, annoyed and frustrated about it. And then I caught myself having to remind myself that it's not something that I can control anyway. So why am I letting myself sit here and get upset about these thoughts? Why am I letting these thoughts kind of take over when it's a waste of my energy? I could be using my energy for something that I actually, have power over. So what's the point here? And more recently, I am able to kind of pull myself out of those types of funks, but some days it is harder than other days. And I feel like that's something that all of us can relate with at some point or other in our lives. So yeah, I thought this card was perfect for that, especially the part at the end there, I can't control everything and I wouldn't want to. Because just imagine if it was a world where you controlled everything. I mean, you might look at it one way and it does sound pretty cool and enticing, and it would be interesting if that were possible. But on the other hand, I feel like it would get a little boring, always knowing how it's going to play out, what the outcome is going to be. I feel like it would just really take away from the excitement of life. And just because something isn't going your way at the moment, it doesn't mean that it's never going to go your way. And maybe it doesn't. Maybe the outcome, it just never goes in your direction, but we carry on anyway. We learn from it, and we have no choice but to keep moving. Like, there's no point of staying stuck in this one spot and just dwelling on the things that aren't possible or aren't going to happen, when we could be focusing on the things that are actually in our power, in our control to change, and steer those things in the direction that is going to benefit us in the end. And if things don't go your way, then as the card says, they go as they're meant to go. If it doesn't go the way that you wanted it to, it wasn't meant to go that way. And once again, it's out of our hands, it's out of our control anyway. And then you're going to find throughout your life the things that come into your life and go the way that you want them to go. So it's not that things are never going to go your way. That's not the case at all. I'm sure you could think about many scenarios that happened in your life where things actually turned out okay and turned out the way that you hoped that they would. We just have to think that maybe, when they don't, it's because they're not supposed to. They're not meant to go that way. And at this time, I'm not really talking about the big events or situations that happen in our lives that impact us on a larger scale. I'm talking more so the smaller events and situations that happen in our lives that, they're a little bit more frivolous, and I don't want to say not so important, but not so life impacting, if that makes sense. And these little things are what we tend to let take over our thoughts and spend most of our energy on. When it comes to those bigger situations, I'm a bit more gentle on myself. I give myself more time to feel emotions and think a certain way. But when it comes to these smaller things, I have learned, even though they may feel big in the moment, it may feel like it's not small right now because of the emotions that I'm feeling. But when I look at the bigger picture, they are smaller compared to other things. Those are the situations where I want to try and snap myself out of it a lot quicker. I'll still let myself feel certain things, but not for the length of time that I would allow myself to if it were pertaining to a bigger situation. It's easier for me to bring to my attention and remind myself of the lack of control that I have in those smaller situations compared to the more bigger life-altering situations. So for right now, it's those smaller situations really that I am referring to. And I'm more so talking about the situations that we don't have any control over. Like I said, there are situations where we do have control over how it plays out. But in this case, I'm talking more about the things that we don't have a say in really, and we don't have much power over. Those are the types of situations that we find ourselves not really being mindful about. Those are the types of situations where we really find ourselves, stressing over it or really getting frustrated over because of the lack of control that we have. So when we find ourselves in situations where we don't have control, this is how we can take control. We have the power over our reactions and our emotions towards a situation. So that is how we can take control in a situation where we don't have much or any control. So yeah, I was just sitting here having one of those moments myself, and I thought that I would want to share it with you guys and talk a little bit about my thoughts on the things that are out of our control, and yeah, the things that we wish would go a certain way, but they don't, and how I kind of just remind myself in those moments that things are gonna go the way that they're meant to go. Even if it's not the way I want it to, I have to believe that it's meant to go that way. And maybe that's better for me than going in the way that I wanted it to go. Maybe if it actually did, in the end, it wouldn't be the better outcome for me. So those are just some of the things that I try to think of in moments like this. And it seems to help me and keep me more, mindful and more positive. So that is what I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to share any of your thoughts in the comments. I always love hearing from you guys. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you in the next one.